Want to have a go? Are you any good at quizzes?
Alright.
What's your language you speaking? English? You're from here?
I'm Polish, like.
So, trochę rozumiem po angielsku? Anyway, can you read that? Here. Just to help me with this stuff, can you take this little microphone? I just want to record people's responses, okay?
Yeah,
so
right.
you can read the maths question.
Yeah, so 1,000 plus 40. Now add another 1,000. And then 10, add 10. 1,000 more and 40. Jesus Christ.
Oh.
So 2,040, 2,050, 3,050, 3,007, no, 3,090, 3,100.
That's very good. You know what most people say?
Wow.
4,000.
Swear.
So I don't know how you end up getting the right answer. But how about this one?
Worse greater than God, but worse than the devil. Dead eat it, and if the living eat it, they die. Not sure.
Not sure? Does nothing come to mind?
Not really. Was greater than God, worse than the devil. I don't know.
Nothing at all?
Nah, I can't think of anything.
Okay. Sometimes we try to help people by giving them a little suggestion, you know?
Yeah.
So nothing comes to mind at all?
Nope.
Well, that should have been the first thing came to your mind.
What should have been?
Nothing.
Nothing. Oh.
See? I try to help, right? So what is greater than God?
Nothing.
Nothing. What's worse than the devil? Nothing.
Nothing.
What do the dead eat?
Nothing.
Okay, and if the living were to eat? Nothing.
Nothing. They would
They
die.
Okay, so what do you think of that? I know, are these people here for the rally? Yeah. So let me ask you this. What do you think about that? And I have a few follow-on questions for your interest, okay?
Yeah.
You come from a religious country, do you not?
Yeah, I do.
Such as you come from Poland.
Yeah.
Mostly Roman Catholic, yes?
Yeah.
But do you believe that there is a God?
Well, I believe that, like, God is, a part of our life, like, more than, like, an entity, but, yeah, I do believe that
There is some creator,
there
yes?
is some creator, yeah.
Okay. And the next question, can I ask just what is your first name?
Matthews.
Matthews.
Yeah.
Okay, Matthews, do you believe that people have souls? Do you have a soul?
Well, I guess I believe so, like, everyone's, like, conscious, you know, like,
You're not really sure what it is?
yeah, I don't think anyone knows what it is, like.
Well, say if I said to you it was the immaterial part of you. You have a material part,
Yeah.
which is flesh and bone, and your brain and all that. But then there's an immaterial part of you that people can't see. But it's often been said that the eyes are the windows of the soul. People can say, I looked into his eyes and I just saw emptiness, or I saw joy, or whatever. Or somebody might even use the comment, I don't know if you're familiar with this one,
Yeah.
that this fella, he's the life and the soul of the party. In other words, they think he's full of energy and life. Okay, my last question is, what do you think happens when someone dies? Is there something that happens to the soul?
I don't think so. I think like, you know, when you die it's just blank, like, but I think the people that remember you after you die.
Photographs?
Yeah, things like that.
But the thing is, like, based upon your second answer or second response, that you have a soul, okay?
Yeah.
And if it's an immaterial part of you, then sure the body will die. Yeah, that goes without saying that your body will maybe be buried in the ground, or else you're going to be fish food, okay?
Yeah.
But I'm referring to what happens to the soul, you see. And if it's an immaterial thing, where does it go? Do you think it just floats around, part of the world, or the?
Well, I suppose it stays with the people that, like, remember you and know you, like, you know, like, you're they remember the type of person you were, the energy that you had, like, you know, so it kind of lives on through people, like.
I get what you're feeling, and if you had no family, you're gone.
Yeah, of course. Like.
But here's the thing, right? You seem like you're not 100% sure of those things. Well, who could be sure? But you see, That's why I asked the first question, is there a God? And if there's a God, surely he would be giving us either information or telling us what happens.
Yeah.
And I often tell people who don't seem to know that there are scriptures in the Bible, for example, it says that it is appointed unto man to die once, but that after this there will be a judgment.
Yeah.
And that's why I asked that, because if you say, well, I don't know what happens, supposing you were to find out there's actually going to be a day of judgment on which every single person will be held accountable for the way they lived.
Yeah.
Now that would make a lot of sense, you see. Because if there's no judgment, then how would people live?
Yeah.
See, let's say, for example, you see people, there are stop signs, there are speed limits in Poland, 140 kilometers per hour. Okay. Supposing there were no speed limits, no stop signs, and the police could never be seen anywhere,
Yeah.
what would people do?
I think people might.
Some people.
I think a lot of people would still kind of like be reasonable with it, like stick to the
Because
rules.
of their own security and safety.
Yeah.
But there are other people who would say, well, I can go as fast as I want, and they could be reckless.
Yeah.
But if they knew that every time that someone gets stopped and pulled over by the cops, you're going to get €1,000 fine on the spot, or your license taken away, there will be punishment. They live more carefully.
Yeah.
Okay, now supposing that someone was told this, after this life there's nothing. You will never be held accountable for anything you do. There's no ultimate judgment. Then how would people live their lives?
Well, I suppose they would be more reckless, like, you know,
Exactly.
like they wouldn't care as much, like.
Exactly. And so that's why I'm talking to this guy here. And that's why it's so important to realize that we are told that there will be a day of judgment. And if God, let me ask you a quick question, right? You don't have to stay here and answer this question.
Yeah.
But supposing you were the one who was being judged, say it was your day of judgment, how do you think you would do?
I think I do pretty good. Like I say I lived a good life, but I can't really say that for sure yet. Like.
Right. Because unless you've got a means of judging that, engaging that,
Yeah.
well, what people tend to do, right, is they gauge themselves on how they think they're better than other people. Like, I'm not, well, at least I'm not a murderer, or at least I'm not a rapist, or at least I'm not a robber, so I think I'm pretty good. But what if the standard was absolute perfection in the sight of a holy God, where it leaves every single one of us without any hope? You can never meet that standard. Then you will be judged as guilty and condemned, like I would be guilty and condemned. However, let me give you quickly some good news. God did something about that situation. Knowing that we wouldn't have a leg to stand on, he came into this world himself, lived as a man, and lived a perfect life, never sinned. But he was treated like he was the guilty one, and he was crucified on a cross. But on that cross, he took upon himself the full judgment of God for sinners like me. Okay? So that if I put my trust in Jesus Christ, his goodness is transferred to me, my badness was transferred to him, and that means that when I stand before God, I'm not standing there claiming I was a good person or I haven't been that bad. I would have the very perfect life of Jesus Christ applied to me, as if I have lived his life when I know I haven't lived a good life. So I'm not trusting in myself. I'm trusting in what Jesus Christ did. Because what he did on the cross is he took the full punishment of God's wrath when he didn't deserve that. But on the same token, I don't deserve God's righteousness applied to me. It's a bit like this. I don't know, are you a rich man?
Not really.
Supposing you looked in your bank account and you said, oh no, minus €1,000, right?
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't make you feel too great, right?
No, it doesn't.
However, if someone came along, a total stranger, and handed you a check for €1,000, where does that leave you?
Well, I suppose you'd be grateful for like
But you'd
not
still,
being in debt. Like,
but you'd still be at zero,
yeah.
right? And so you'd be really not better off, but better than you were.
Yeah.
However, supposing someone just came along to you and said, I've got a check for you for €5,000, you can clear your debt and you'll even have something left over. Well, in the eyes of God, we were totally bankrupt without anything, and God put into our account the fullness of Jesus Christ's goodness as if it was ours. And God will not judge us as guilty, but as if we were the righteous ones. So there you go. Let me give you, I know there's a little noise in the background. Let me give you something to take away with you. I don't know, are you living here?
No, I live in Tralee, bro.
Tralee. Well, I was going to go to Tralee today. Do you know that?
Yeah.
I was going to go to Tralee today, but I decided, because time was short, that I would come to Killarney instead. So maybe it was a good thing. Okay, now, if you want to know where this is being used, this video, I'm recording these things for YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. If you want to check it out, you go.
What's it called?
It's called Living Rock Church Killarney.
Living Rock Church Killarney.
Yeah, you can look it up. I may or may not use the material, and of course, it's also depending if it's suitable and noise and all the rest of it. But if you want to check it out, you can do so.
That's no problem.
All right, thanks a lot. Who wants? Huh?
What is it?
Well, I'm doing a questionnaire.
Doing a test.
Yes.
I must answer both the questions, is it?
It's entirely up to yourself. Would you like to have a go?
1,000 plus 40, 1,040, 4,000, is it?
Very good, but that's the wrong answer.
Is it?
It's the most common wrong answer.
Alright, so what's the right answer?
Why? Don't just give them away freely. But if you wish, I can give you. I thought it was a miniaturized version somewhere of it. Maybe you need to stand back a little bit. Now, can you read that one? Now, you're obviously here for the rallies, are you? Okay. So, that's a riddle. That's Mavs. No answer to that one?
Are they connected somehow?
Well, they're all connected in somehow. I got like 6 tests here, but I'm only. Those are the most popular
What
ones.
is greater than God?
Okay.
And worse than the devil?
Yeah.
The dead eat it.
Now, if you wish to be on my video recording, you can just simply use this microphone.
I'd rather not. No.
Okay. But I want to get people's responses, you see, to these. Like when you said the answer was 4,000, were you convinced that you were right?
Yeah, like in my head it makes sense. Like,
Yes, it does. It does. Until someone explains it to you. For example, what is 1,000 plus 40?
1,040.
Correct. Can't go wrong there, right?
Yeah.
Now add 10. What's it say?
Now add another 1,000.
What would that be?
2,040.
Correct. So far, so good. And what's next?
Add 10.
What would that be?
2,050.
Correct. Now, what's next?
1,000 more.
Right. Which is 3,050.
1,000 more.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be right?
3,050.
Correct. Then add 40.
3,090.
Perfect. So now all you got to do is add 10.
4,000.
Is it? So when did you go to Mavs school, or you didn't work in a bank or anything, right? So if you had 3,090 euro and you added 10, you had 4,000. Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
Is that right?
Yeah, 3,100.
Now,
It's the simplicity of it, isn't it?
I'd like to see that response, because people are convinced they're right when they're wrong, okay? But they're adamant I'm right. I've actually had a Mavs teacher tell me I was wrong until he checked it.
Yeah.
2 accountants told me that I was silly and didn't know what you're talking about. They were obviously wrong as well. But this one here, does nothing come to mind at all? Nothing just comes to mind? Nothing.
No.
Nothing.
No.
Nothing. Really, nothing. I'm trying to help you here.
I mean, I could get something from the first 2 lines, but then once you
Like
go,
what would you say for
I'll
the
just
first?
go myself.
Well, what would it be?
Myself.
You're greater than God.
Worse than the devil, yeah. I'm not thinking, no.
Depends what your God is, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the dead eat it, that throws me off completely. I don't
Okay.
Dead don't eat that except souls. Maybe, I don't know.
Interesting responses. Okay, so if I was to say nothing is greater than God, nothing's worse than the devil. The dead eat nothing. And if the living were to eat nothing, they would die.
Uh-huh.
That makes sense?
Yeah. So it's all in the morning.
Okay. People have all different views on that. What is the connection with it? Well, I use these as my platform. That's a platform, but it's a small one. For doing a little bit of street preaching. Do you see the connection?
Uh-huh.
Do you see the connection?
I see it, yeah.
What is the connection? I'd like to know.
Because you're good at using your words to get people to listen to you. So
Well,
you're
it's
gonna-
not just
you're gonna
that.
Preach.
It's not just that.
And what are you preaching?
No, but it's not just that. It's the fact that people are convinced that they're right. And then they realize that they're wrong. And if I said to you, could you be wrong about other things? You'd probably say, well, obviously.
It's true, yeah.
Right.
Well,
And
we're going to go that way now.
Yeah.
You can prove I'm wrong with two of these by
Yeah.
just simply
Yeah.
saying. But it depends on what you're preaching if you can prove that now, like, you know?
well, I would be preaching the gospel according to the Bible. Okay.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
What else would I be preaching?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you see, that just shows you that people don't think things through. And I generally ask people the questions on the street, things just to get them thinking a little bit. Okay. I don't want to preach down at people necessarily. I could stand up there and do that, but I also want to hear people's responses to certain questions. That's all. You want to answer some questions? No. I mean, you could probably try answering this one here if you wanted to. What does that say?
God is nowhere.
Oh, really? Because that's not how most people read it.
Well, he's already here.
What does this say? God is nowhere.
Well, some people read it, God is now here.
That would depend on your beliefs, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
There you go. And I got lots of little things like that just to see where people are at. I got 3 quick questions for you if you don't mind answering. What's your name?
James.
Correct.
Number
Okay,
one.
James, is there a God? Now think carefully before you answer. You may call a friend.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, why I say don't be too quick to answer, because that's a broad subject. What do you mean by God? Sure, some people think that the tree behind them is God, an ant on the ground is God. But when you say you believe there is a God, what do you mean by God? Just quickly.
My own version of God.
Well, you said you're greater than God, so I don't know what sort of God that would be. The most common answer to that question is a creator who created all things.
No, I don't believe in a creator. I just believe in I don't know,
Interesting.
like a moral code to stand by almost.
A what?
A moral code.
A
out there that you
moral
stand by, something
code.
like that, you know?
And who gave that code? Okay, so you
In general, there's no like, right from wrong.
okay.
Left from right.
So basically, you sound like a bit of an atheist in some sort of sense. Okay, do you have a soul?
A soul.
Yes, and I don't mean something to do with your shoes.
No, I wouldn't. No, I don't believe a soul.
Soul. So if someone says, James, you're the life and the soul of the party, you'd say, no, I don't have a soul. You would agree.
No, that's a word of phrase. And it's
Okay, what does that mean?
It means you're like the life of the party.
Okay, and if someone says, bless my soul, what do they mean?
Bless my heart. Bless my soul.
So that's their life.
Bless myself.
It's
like,
their
yeah.
life, okay. Now, when we talk about soul, it usually means this. There's a material part of you, your flesh and your body and that sort of thing, but there's also an immaterial part of you, your personality that no one can see, that lives on even after you die. That's what we mean by soul. Do you have a soul?
No, not that lives on after you.
Okay, so it dies with when you die, okay? And the third and final question would be this. What do you think happens when someone dies?
They decompose.
Their body. Okay, see, this is where there's a bit of a difference. Some people believe that we have a soul that lives on after we die. Others think, no, when you're dead, you're dead. And they have no concern. I can live whatever way I like because there's no concerns afterwards. I'm not going to be judged or anything. It's just my body's going to decompose. I'm going to just rot and that's it. Whereas other people have a conscious awareness of the fact that there's a greater, there's a God, there will be judgment, and I'm going to be held accountable for how I live my life. See? I don't know if you've ever thought about those things, but those are challenging thoughts. I think I would be better.
Yeah, but you see,
Mhm.
I would say I'm not thinking about it for when I die. Just thinking you live by
I
your
know,
moral
I
code for
know.
life. Not for when
But
you
where
die.
do you get a moral code from?
Just for living in life.
You see,
Why would you want to live life as
where I'm asking, where does it come from? Where does a moral code come from when there is no God?
Your
Just
environment,
made
I
up.
suppose.
Okay. So when
Your-
environment makes the decisions what's right and wrong, they can change that and say it's okay to do this now. It wasn't okay in the past, but it's changed. You know, people make all those things up as they go along. Whereas, from my perspective, of course, I'm made in the image and likeness of God, who gave me a moral compass, and I have similar characteristics as God gave to us to have a morality. Where does that morality come from? Where does those laws come from? Society's laws are based upon God's laws. And if society rejects God and God's laws, they just make up their own laws, which change with time.
But then I would say that these God's laws
Yeah?
are just society's laws.
Well, would you
They're
like...
just what a society
you-
would come to
okay.
naturally
Well,
without this idea
I know.
of,
But let's say you lived during Nazi Germany, okay?
uh-huh.
the society decided it was perfectly okay to kill Jews, perfectly okay to.
Because he used the same thing you're using, good wordplay.
No,
Yeah, it's a that's exactly what he is.
but you're right. You're right in one sense but they were able to convince all the people that that was okay, and people agreed with it. So society said it was okay.
No. One man was able.
No. He wasn't on his own.
Well, he basically started it, and he got it going. And his words, his kind of persuasive words, like you and your gods would have in society to put it wrong, same thing.
So there's no.
If you're going to say that Jesus came out or whatever and writ these laws of society to follow, that's why we're all following him now.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
Similar thing.
But did you know that our Western society is based upon these moral laws?
Yeah. So that came from a man who came from the clouds or whatever and gave him these commandments and these ways to live by, no?
No, not exactly.
No?
Not exactly.
But you're saying that our society lives off Christian values.
Yes, it does.
Christian values. Right?
And you're probably happy to live in this country.
Because of a man who was speaking years ago and convinced
man?
the gospel. The boys went around and convinced everyone to be Christian.
Yes.
Yeah?
You're
the same way that Hitler went around and convinced everyone to be a Nazi. It's the same thing.
Which one of those do you think was better?
It doesn't matter what better or worse. That's not what we're talking about.
So you don't think it matters? If
It
some
does
guy
matter, but it's the same concept.
Okay.
Your ideas of a man in heaven telling us how to do things.
That's fine.
And a man in a Nazi
But
suit,
are you living under the concept of a good society which give you good laws?
We're living under a good one.
Yes.
That's fine.
Are you
But
happy about that?
That doesn't mean it came from a certain thing which has to be true.
Oh no, I'm not saying I agreeing with you there. Okay, but you've got to ask yourself, where does morality even stem from?
And that's
Do
what I'm
people
saying,
just
it's
make them
yourself.
up as they go along?
Yeah.
So you go by your own standards.
If you put a big enough group of people in a world with no notion or ideation of a God, eventually they'll come to a society very similar to this.
You're sure
That's
about
what-
that?
Yeah.
Well,
How? Like, I'm with you.
Yeah.
How?
Right.
Like, why? Like, how is it in you? Like, how were you born with it? Like, what different you from an animal?
Sorry.
The fact that we can talk, we can
Hold on
think,
a second.
We can think critically and stuff like that.
How? Where did that come from?
Where are you guys from, by the way?
Evolution, I suppose.
How did that evolve?
How
Poland?
did evolution evolve?
Yeah.
I've just been to
I
Slovakia
suppose
last
from
week.
the same way the science believed it from a little cell in
But
the
Fresh
who
up.
created the Big Bang?
Sorry?
Who came up with the concept of the Big Bang?
Scientists, I suppose.
What scientist? A Catholic priest. Do you know that? He came up with the concept.
Okay.
So what's the correlation? Why can you not believe in both? Why can you not believe in evolution and in Christianity or morality?
Talking about that.
So what do you believe?
I just believe that, as I said, if you put a group big enough people on a planet
Okay,
who have a brain like ours, an intelligence like ours,
but where does the intelligence come
from
from?
evolution,
But that doesn't make any sense.
no?
No,
And that's fine. And
Yeah.
it just doesn't make sense to me that a man in the clouds came and gave us.
but it's not
all
a man
this-
in the clouds.
Or whatever else.
But
the
that's
Bible
your
says.
perception of it.
Oh,
You know.
Yeah, we both have different perceptions, and that's fine.
But I don't think that makes any sense.
See, and that's okay. If
But
my
what, like-
belief to you doesn't make
but why-
sense,
what- so you-
that should just be fine. And be like,
Oh, but
okay.
that is fine.
Yeah.
But nobody said it isn't. Who's saying that it isn't fine?
Because you're saying, oh, it doesn't make sense to me.
But
And
it
like,
also equally doesn't make sense to you.
that's fine. Yeah. But I'm just, we were talking, and he believes that the society we live in comes from Christian notions.
It does.
years ago.
It does.
But it
that's-
does,
and
really,
that's,
like,
and
yeah.
that's fine. I agree with you on that.
And I'm sure you're
These
glad you
Christian-
don't. I'm
these
sure you
Christian
don't.
notions, I believe, didn't come from some spiritual or immaculate conception and all that. It came from one man who was like this man, quite good with words. That's it.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, I suppose that you could say that's
Do
what.
you know, like Jesus was a preacher, right? Wasn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah.
He was a preacher, so he went around preaching and making people join Christianity. Yeah, that's how
Well,
basically.
no, he didn't make anybody do
No,
anything.
but he used his good words to get people to go. Oh yeah, that sounds good actually.
James,
Should do
let
that."
me fill you in on that fact. It wasn't
Yeah, I'm
about
not too
it
versed-
wasn't
I'm
about
not too
Jesus. It
versed
wasn't
in the
about Jesus coming and preaching. These things stem from the Old Testament anyway, where God gave the Ten Commandments. Okay, and that was
Right,
for
and-
that was for
and there- and there
for
we go.
people.
That's just
What?
I don't believe
What don't you believe?
that God gave someone on the top of a hill or something, wasn't it? 10 Commandments. He shouted out of a bush or something. Was that the story?
Yeah, it's bits and pieces.
That's
I think there's more to it. I think you're simplifying it.
So like, alright, you're telling me, oh, it was actually a scientist who came up with the Big Bang, right? Or he theorized it.
Yeah.
Right. So if you're telling me a scientist can believe in evolution and
Yeah.
also in Christianity. How come there is a scientist who believes that a man spoke through a bush to a man to give him
How
the
do you know
command?
that?
Because it's not there. That's never been out in the news. Like, I've never.
I have never heard of anyone
Hold on a
talk about
second.
anything like that. There's been loads of Christian scientists.
Evolution.
Look up John Lennox. Look up Hugh Ross. Look up the creator of the Human Genome Project is Francis Collins. He's one of the most renowned scientists
That's right.
ever.
Right.
So that is the news.
Personally, I think the Big Bang actually confirms Christianity and the Bible. You know why? Because it is an admission that there was a beginning.
Yeah, there was
Okay.
a beginning. Yeah,
There was a
And it
beginning,
says it in the first
but
word,
up
yeah.
into the 1930s, did you know that up until the 1930s, scientists were saying that the universe has always existed? Then they changed their mind by looking through their telescopes and whatnot that the universe had a beginning. So they came up with the Big Bang as a sort of a reason for explaining that. So that's the way it's working.
You have a misconception in your head there now. It's like some of the most.
No,
like that-
no, I never said.
You just you said it's not on the news and stuff like that.
No, I just meant the part about the Ten Commandments.
Oh, but like,
See, I
listen,
believe what
but
he's.
hold on, you have to take it seriously. It's up to you how you perceive.
Yeah, and it's sensationalized and whatnot. Like, it's
Like,
a
have you
story.
heard of
Like,
Jordan
yeah.
Peterson? He's kind of going into
Oh,
into
no.
it a lot more.
Are you into Jordan Peterson?
Well, I'm into anybody.
Right.
I don't have to agree with all his
Interesting.
No, no,
ideologies.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, that, yeah.
I can agree and disagree with
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah,
as
yeah,
you-
yeah.
But like, are you an atheist?
I wouldn't class myself as anything. Like,
You don't know.
I just don't know. I don't know. I don't think so.
That's called.
I don't.
You know what that's called?
I don't find personally a need in
agnostic.
life to have a spiritual side or a.
You would like to have it?
No, so I don't find the need to have a spiritual side or a.
But you see, you're very young, and like maybe if you do have children and stuff like that, you'll start thinking about these things. Oh, is this your child?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe when he gets older, he starts asking what happens. What's his favorite? You might think so.
And James,
I just-
thank
I
you
just
for
think there's-
stopping for.
Yeah, yeah,
for-
I
Yeah,
know,
no,
but
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
think
yeah.
that you're like, oh,
No. I just think some people have it. I suppose space in their life or a want, whereas I just don't
Not
see
yet.
any.
You mightn't have needed that, but you might be faced with that in the future.
True, but again, whatever struggle or difficulty I do face, I don't even ever make me turn to that, like,
How do you know?
because there's no benefit to it in my
your opinion.
yeah, that's it, in my opinion. Yeah.
You're living-
just in the
you're-
same way that
you're-
if someone gets stressed, they might go for a
But
drink. and they might
James,
say, no, there's no benefit to
James,
that.
you're living under the benefits of Christian influence.
Yeah.
And I'm
you
not
don't-
disagreeing with that. I'm not disagreeing.
You're
with
not
that.
going to go off and live in North
just,
Korea.
I'm just telling you, I disagree with the fact that your commandments and societal laws came from where they came from.
Well,
I'm saying they just came from
Well-
a natural society and
But
people.
but if you think of what happened to the people who actually went along with Jesus and like Paul and all those kind of
And
guys,
James and the boys, yeah.
like they were completely and utterly murdered and killed and tortured and all of the above for following Jesus. Why would they
Yeah.
do that? Why would you bother? If like you can say that if they saw it happen, they saw the empty tomb.
The exact same reason we have children suicide bombers.
I don't agree with that. Well, yeah, I suppose because they really,
Because they believe there's something better on the other side. If I follow this man and do everything he says, I can go to heaven with angels and gods and fairies and all that stuff.
But why
Same
would
way
they do
they-
it if they didn't believe it? All of the,
So they
all
didn't
of these
believe it?
people, of course they believe it.
So that's you're asking me why did they die for this man? That's why.
I think all you're saying. What's your name, by the way?
Marissa.
Maurice?
Marissa.
Marissa?
Marissa.
Marissa?
Yeah.
Larissa?
No, what a name. Marissa.
Marissa? Marissa? Yeah, so I hear what you're saying. It sounds like there's some incentive.
Yeah.
But what would be the incentive for these people? He's saying, well, Muslims have an incentive to get to heaven for free by
Well, look,
going
we'll even
jihad,
just take a step
whatever.
back. What's your incentive to believe in God in the first place?
That's my incentive.
Yeah.
I don't think it's an incentive.
Right, so then why do the lads need an incentive to follow him to death?
Because
If it's a
it was
belief
so
they
new.
believe in.
But not all of them did.
But
Until
it-
he rose from and came back. Not all of them. And most
James,
of them
let me tell you this. I was not seeking after God. The Bible says none seek after God. It was God who came seeking after me. Perhaps this encounter
Yeah.
today is something that God's
Yeah, maybe,
just
yeah,
stirring
yeah.
something that was
Maybe.
never stirred before. You never know.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe
And
I'll
like,
look up tonight and I'll see the stars align for myself.
You never know.
but it's not like
No, I
that,
know.
like,
I'm just.
Okay, let me just quickly ask these guys here because I know that they're together with you. You're together.
Yeah.
Okay,
Head off.
you're from Slovakia, and how you've been living in Ireland a long time. I think I've seen you before. That's why, and I wonder, are you your daughter? Yeah. Very good. And Marissa,
from here?
Marissa,
California.
where are you from?
I just heard you talking.
No, where are you from?
Ballyvorney.
Ballyvorney.
Yeah, Cork. That's only like 20 minutes from here.
And you're-
What's your church?
Oh yeah, so we're on a I have a YouTube channel which I do some evangelism in Tralee and Killarney usually, and it's Living Rock Church Killarney.
Okay.
And we have a YouTube channel just to see what people's responses
Am I going to be
are.
online?
If you like.
I wouldn't like that. But
Why not?
I don't know. I don't like cameras and all that stuff. Like,
Well, I'm sure you'll be displayed in a nice way.
nice,
but
know
you
it's
didn't do
good.
anything
Put,
wrong.
put a nice filter on it at least, you know.
You didn't do anything. Like, I don't think that you're.
No, I know. I
think
don't
you're
like pictures
for
and stuff
everything.
in general.
Oh yeah, fair
Yeah,
enough.
look. People really may not want to hear what I've got to say, but they are interested in hearing what other people have to say, and I like to get that feedback, you see. So it's good to, because a lot of people have a perception of a preacher standing there preaching down at people, right? What I try to do is engage them in conversation, get some feedback, and have a bit of a normal talk about things.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with what you said. Or
No. Because everyone's
There's no bad language.
Everyone's going to be different. Even like you might find a devout Christian here, right, who's broken every sin you can imagine. He's going to have the same beliefs you do.
Yeah.
But everyone's going to be different. And once preachers like yourselves and Christians like yourselves still accept everyone, we'll all be happy. You know?
Well, we're also here to
Once you
warn
don't call
every
me
man.
wrong, and I don't call you wrong, but we're all just different, you know?
We do have a responsibility to warn every man and tell them of judgment and of their need to get right with God. That's the main thing in my
That I don't believe.
I know you don't.
But
That's why I'm preaching to you. I'm not preaching to her about
that's
that.
instilling what I would call a fake fear into people. for no reason.
Why is it a fake fear?
Because as you just said, nobody knows. You can't prove it.
Well,
Well,
actually,
hold on. You can't prove anything. You can't prove you're here right now. You actually have no idea that this isn't a dream.
we're going
that
this
real.
deep. Oh my God! All
But
right.
like you can't. All you can do is go off evidence.
I mean,
That's all you can do is
my
go off
senses
evidence.
can tell me. I can touch,
No, but
smell, no,
how do you know?
because I'm here talking to
Prove
you.
it to me.
Prove it to you. Okay.
How do
See
you know
that?
this isn't all a
We're on a
simulation?
camera.
Yeah, but like how do you know?
Well, if it's all a
camera?
simulation, then there's definitely no God.
But, like you don't know that.
You don't know.
for all you know,
can't
you
actually
So you,
prove-
so you,
you actually can't.
I know,
prove
for all
anything.
you know-
are you under the same
for
belief
all
that you
you know,
can't prove it?
no, and
No.
what I'm saying
you
is,
have good enough evidence that you can follow. Is what I'm saying. The evidence is good that you're here, and the evidence is good that I'm here. But you still can't prove it. That's what I'm trying to say.
yes,
Fair enough.
it's
fair
like
enough.
this.
Fair enough.
For all you know, you could be in a laboratory
Yeah.
connected to wires,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
think this is
Yeah,
reality.
yeah. Like you actually can. The evidence can be strikingly good, and the evidence is quite good.
Oops.
But you know what I mean?
True.
That's a good one by Ray Comfort, by the way. I don't know if you've heard of him.
I'll
have,
have a look at this. But we're going to roll it on. because
Okay,
Jesus-
cool.
Same.
Let me talk to you for a second.
Oh God.
Just-
I
just-
have to go
just-
for my lunch.
Good to meet you.
Okay, you too, James. All right, thanks. Ciao. Do widzenia. So you live in Ballyvorney?
I do. Yeah. So you have a church here, is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
very good.
You are you going to church in Cork or something?
A Catholic church in Ballyvorny.
Okay,
Yeah, I would go,
Ballyvorny,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So you seem to know your stuff on a lot of areas.
I do, because
You
kinda-
study a bit of apologetics as well.
Yeah, I'd be kind of interested in it just because you need this kind of stuff because I don't think people know what they're talking about, and I
Yeah.
like to be versed. And I know, if this kind of stuff comes up,
Well, as you can see, these things simply draw people's attention, and
Yeah.
and I have to be quite upfront and honest with people and say. They say, "What's the connection?" I say, "Well, I'm using this as a platform or a springboard to draw a connection between the fact that he did the Mavs test, right? Was absolutely convinced that he was right.
Yes.
But then I said, "But could you be wrong?"
Mm.
And you show them he's wrong. If you could be wrong about something like that,
Yeah.
could
yeah.
you be wrong about
Or
other
about
things?
everything, of course. Yeah,
There you
yeah,
go.
yeah.
And
But
it's
I
like,
think there definitely is more of a spiritual opening at the moment. I think definitely.
on the reception area, I'm of the belief that, as I said in Romans, there's none who seeks after God. Not one person seeks after God. But God comes seeking after people.
Yeah,
right?
definitely. Yeah.
And therefore, it doesn't surprise me when people are like, that guy.
The majority of people that aren't kind of, I suppose, religious or anything like that, that's the way that they are. They're like, I don't know, but I think I know, but I don't know. Or I find a lot in Ireland now is I'm not religious. I can't be religious. No way am I religious. But I believe in a higher power. That's what a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think that's a good shot that aren't, I suppose, Christian or Catholic or whatever. And I'm
We'll
sure,
see how it goes.
again, you have not got many that are so close-minded, that won't speak with you, or I
Yeah.
think.
But it's a work of the Spirit of God.
Yeah,
Either he opens their hearts and minds or he doesn't.
yeah, for sure, definitely. But it was great to meet you. I'm
You
supposed
too.
to, what do you do every
Well,
Sunday?
you
or-
can check it out here on our YouTube channel. You can see what you would expect generally on a Sunday morning.
And you meet on a Sunday morning. What time?
11 o'clock.
brilliant. I must give a run in.
Yeah, so you never know who turns up,
No,
but
I think there's definitely more.
a mid-range of people,
But
you know.
even in America now, I'm not sure if you saw I suppose the rise of the nuns. They were something like 31%. The no religion, you know, the
Oh,
percentage of
nuns.
non-
I thought you said nuns.
No, everyone thinks that nuns. Yeah, and now it's down to 28%. So people are definitely it's changing. Very discerning, I think.
Well, look, God has always had his people, a remnant of people, and you hear about it all the time. Sometimes God works in waves, it seems to me.
Yeah.
Like there was maybe you'll have a whole bunch of people come into church and they go, I don't know why, I just felt like God did something in my life and I just want to read the Bible and I want to study and where can I do that?
Yeah.
And then that might not happen for several weeks or months or even a year. And then next thing a batch of people just, so I don't know how that works.
Yeah, it's funny. Maybe we'll never know. Like that, you can't know everything.
Yeah.
It was lovely to meet
All
you.
right.
What's your name?
Michael?
Michael. And
And
Marissa. I got Marissa.
Marissa,
Marissa.
yeah, that's easy enough.
I'll definitely come sometime.
Okay, cool. Okay, God bless. You need to get some fishing done, okay? I'm doing some fishing. He's a fisherman, right? Why not fishing today? I got one for you, okay? Who was it that said to some fishermen, I will make you fishers of men? Who was it that spoke to some fishermen and said, I will make you fishers of men? You don't know? Well, you have to reel them in with this one, right? And these are my lures, okay? So it was Jesus Christ spoke to some fishermen along the shores of Galilee. They were fishermen, and he says, come, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. Not fishers of old men, but fishers of men. How are you doing? Here, give him your leaflets. Okay? Okay. Dos Visenya.
I was waiting for you to answer it. I love your heart.
Cool.